First, I'd like to thank this body for overwhelmingly passing this legislation out of this chamber a month ago and for its continuous support over the past 2.5 years. Given the commitment and dedication this body has shown time and time again to bettering our state's higher education, I find it absolutely fitting that this chamber's vote of concurrence today will be the vote that sends this bill to the governor's desk.
Today we are making a bold decision in passing Senate Bill 1, which ends state-mandated diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in our colleges and universities. I know this decision is controversial, and I know that some are afraid. Afraid that ending DEI means erasing people. Afraid that voices will be silenced. Afraid that progress will be undone. Let me speak directly to that fear. This is not about censure or erasure. It's not about exclusion. It's about inclusion that transcends labels. Because DEI has become a system that sorts us. It sorts us by race, by gender, and by identity, creating a culture where we are defined by our categories instead of our character, where we look at each other's faces instead of listening to each other's hearts. That's not real inclusion. That's division with good intentions. But today I rise with a new vision, a vision that moves us from division to unity, a vision that believes in the power of people over programs, that believes in true inclusion, not institutional separation. Because I believe we can and must build a future where our care for one another isn't assigned or mandated, but lived out in how we treat each other every day. A future rooted in this simple, powerful idea: no labels, just neighbors. It is time that we remove the DEI labels. We can do better, and we must do better because we are neighbors. And it's what's good for your family is also what's good for my family. Mi casa es su casa. Your struggle is my struggle because we are one. We are Ohioans. We are Americans. We are neighbors. The Bible teaches us to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Therefore, my success should uplift and not leave you behind. In the words of the late, great Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And that's what this moment demands, that we stop treating justice as something to be distributed based on categories and start treating it as a collective concern that we build together. Ohio is not a place of boxes. We are a place of people. People with dreams, fears, goals, and grit. We are 11 million strong of white, black, Latino, Asian, rural, urban, gay, straight, immigrant, native-born, and all of us belong here. But we do not need DEI bureaucracy to prove that. We need each other. We need classrooms that teach students to think, not conform. We need universities that unify, not divide. We need a state that says your worth is not based on your label. It's based on your humanity. That's why I am supporting concurrence with Senate Bill 1. Not to turn back the clock, but to turn over the page. To move beyond artificial inclusion into something real. To move beyond mediocrity and into meritocracy. Something that says you don't need a program to belong. You belong because you're human. You belong because you're valued. And you belong because you're my neighbor. And this is not about doing less for some, it's about building more for everyone together. So let's end the era of us versus them. Let's walk forward as Ohioans, as Americans, and most importantly, as neighbors. Because in this house and in this state, in this moment, no labels, just neighbors. As Senate Bill 1 moves to passage, I call on my fellow colleagues to join me in a promise to Ohioans to make this commitment to our communities, especially those of us with diverse districts. that we will uplift all Ohioans and leave no one behind. I urge concurrence. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senate Bill 1 will enrich the learning experience of students at our public universities and colleges, places where our best and brightest will be able to learn without prejudice, speak their mind without being canceled, be honest about their positions without fear of faculty retaliation, and consider all sides of an issue and make up their own minds. We want Ohio's colleges and universities to be a place where students can reach their full intellectual potential, where research and critical thinking are promoted, where free speech is encouraged, where innovation is nurtured, and performance is rewarded. I want to thank Senator Serino. He has been truly a hero in this effort, and with his 39 grandchildren, there is nobody in this chamber that has more of a vested interest in the future of our state than Senator Serino, and it showed through this. He has just his patient tenacity to get through this. He has a spine of steel. He must have skin of Teflon. He did not give up. He was not going to give up until he got this done, and it's for the benefit of all the students in the state of Ohio. It's truly for the benefit of our future. So thank you, Senator Serino, for your courage and your leadership on this. Every now and then, as you know, we've been here, there are landmark pieces of legislation that cross the span of time. Like you think back, and like if someone says Senate Bill 1, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I know I'm going to think about this Senate Bill 1 and this piece of legislation. So it truly is a landmark piece. So, Mr. President, I would encourage, if we had a T-shirt that said Senate Bill 1, we could retire it and hand it to Senator Serino, because he has certainly earned it. Now, along with our 5 civic centers, Senate Bill 1 will propel Ohio to a leadership position in the U.S. for higher education. It's true diversity of thought, free speech, and academic freedom. Mr. President, I urge concurrence.
First of all, I'd like to comment on the work that Senator Serino put into this. It's actually hard to conceive of what he did unless you watched it every step of the way. He started on this in a committee that I was the chairman of, and he was the vice chairman of, back beyond the last General Assembly. And I was amazed when he actually went out to all these different universities and talked to the presidents, talked to the trustees, talked to students, made the rounds, and then in a lot of cases made them again. They were calling him on the phone for now over 2 years, and they were saying things like, this is what we need, but we have to be careful about this because we're under such pressure, we fear for our jobs. He did the hard work. How many of us have actually been out there and talked to all these different presidents? How many have stood before withering committees with this philosophical bent that he has, that things need to change? Tremendous courage by the senator to put this forth.
This legislation, as amended by the Ohio House, represents a quantum leap in providing a more positive and learning environment for Ohio college students, all Ohio college students. Parents and students will now have a more comfortable feeling that their public institutions of higher learning will foster an environment of open and free expression for everyone.
I'd like to thank, in the House, Chair Tom Young and the House Workforce and Higher Education Committee, specifically Speaker Pro Tem Gail Manning and Majority Whip Josh Williams for their work and collaboration with me over the previous few weeks and the last General Assembly as well. I'd also like to thank Speaker Huffman for his leadership in bringing this bill to the floor in the House for a vote, where it was proven that the House did, in fact, have the votes. And you, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you for your tremendous support for this legislation and your dedication to reforming higher education in the state of Ohio. Mr. President and members of the Senate, I strongly urge concurrence. Thank you.